Hey everybody, Rando here. I finished playing Persona 5 Royal, and I gotta say, after finally finishing it, what a game. This video will divulge a bit of spoilers for Persona 5 Royal, and personally I think that you should play through the game yourself if you want to feel the full impact of the events I'm going to talk about, but it does make the video kind of useless because if you haven't played the game then you probably don't want to watch the video. Maybe, but I don't care. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Goro Akechi at the beginning of the game is known to be an ace detective, someone who's considered a hero in the public's eyes, solving many cases relating to the series of psychotic breakdowns. It is at the TV studio that we first get to meet Akechi directly. He's interviewed as holding a form of contempt for the Phantom Thieves' actions, believing that they should be tried for their actions of what is effectively vigilantism, mainly because they're taking the law into their own hands and ultimately taking power away from the proper law enforcement. Interestingly enough, the protagonist gets an opportunity to retort as a chosen voice from the audience. And although the protagonist holds a differing viewpoint from Akechi, Akechi ultimately finds interest in the differing opinion and respects the protagonist's bravery in providing a counter-argument in the first place.
Few people around me are so willing to speak their minds as freely as you did earlier.
This inevitably leads to the creation of a confidant with Akechi, which will further develop the relationship between him and Joker. As you meet with Akechi throughout his confidant, you begin to socialize in ways that are nuanced but eerily opposite of who he appears to be. From Akechi admitting to going easy on you in billiards and underestimating your level of skill, to him elaborating the differences in heroes who fight for honest justice, to him even accepting the role as Joker's rival. This all culminates up to an inevitable 1v1 duel in Mementos, leading to a declaration on how he hates Joker and what he stands for.
I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I hate you.
Not because he's such a different person, but because he's so similar to Akechi. All of this shows bits of a facade slowly breaking apart. Because you see, everything Akechi tries to be, Joker inevitably becomes. It's not simply that Joker has risen to Akechi's level. Instead, Akechi has been trying to embody everything that Joker has become throughout their separate journeys.
Your deft handling of your unfortunate circumstances, your uniqueness, your ability to surpass me, all these irritate me. You're the one person I refuse to lose to.
He hates Joker because he's supposed to be Joker. If Joker embodies all these factors in their rawest form, what does that make Akechi? And because of his jealousy and fear, he decides to fight Joker one-on-one at rank 8 of his confidant, with the goal in mind to try and prove himself that he is the better one. And when he loses the fight, this does nothing but confirm and exacerbate his jealousy and fears. So much so to the point that now he knows without a shadow of a doubt, even if they alone remain, he is not strong enough to win. This leads into the concoction of a desperate ploy that is shown at the beginning of the game. Akechi makes plans with Shido to confront and capture Joker in a surprise attack, detaining him to a gated underground cell with no escape, and taking away authority over the case from Sai Nijima into Akechi's hands. All of these conditions continually ramping up into a crescendo of true finality for Akechi, where he stands in front of a weak, broken form of his enemy that embodies all of which he has desired to be, and with one pull of a trigger, he etches the universal finality that he is the better one. But as much as it's thought to be the penultimate event of Akechi's character, it is never explained how or why he became this way, until Shido's palace. When we finally confront Akechi within Shido's palace, we finally find out a couple things. The first set being that he has been the perpetrator of both the mental shutdowns and the psychotic breakdowns, making them happen when Shido saw fit. And as a result, he is responsible for the many deaths throughout the city that are related to these incidents. but the second relates to why he was chosen to side with Shido in the first place. As told to us prior in Akechi's storyline, he is a bastard child who has a deadbeat father, someone who abandoned both him and his mother, which ultimately led to his mother's suicide. Because of her suicide, Akechi inevitably was left to fend in foster homes for most of his upbringing, becoming dejected through neglect. And because of that neglect, he has grown to hate how adults manipulate the futures of others. And in the end, he has chosen to solve the problem not through acts of justice, but through acts of vengeance. As you see, Masayoshi Shido is Akechi's father.
All this is to make Masayoshi Shido my father acknowledge me, then exact revenge on him.
Shido is your father?
As Akechi says himself, his whole existence is nothing but a scandal. His freedom, his right to be loved, his life and future were forfeit the moment he was born. He lived the life of a bastard child, neglected and abandoned by his father, and eventually reduced to an orphan after his mother spiraled into depression and suicide. As Akechi grew without love and compassion he so desperately desired, he became bitter and resentful of the world. These tumultuous events only added fuel to an inevitable fire, one that would be sparked with the gift of the wild card, the same power that is soon after gifted to Joker. But you may wonder, if they both hold the same power, how can they be so different? The concept behind personas are that they are a manifestation of the human psyche. To form powerful personas, you peer into who you are, grabbing ideas and concepts, clashing them together to form a rebirth into something new, not from the experiences within yourself, but from the people around you. Yes, simple growth can be achieved through sheer independence, but it is through your capacity to acknowledge the existence of others, to stand beside them. This is only possible through the power of love. Love is the driving factor. Akechi was someone who started much like Joker. His future was taken from him. He was forced into neglect by the world around him and was left with nothing but raw desire. Just like Joker, he was given power and he could finally make a choice. But unlike Joker, he chose to cling to hatred and become the embodiment of what took away his future in the first place: selfishness. He chose to neglect the world around him and gave up on any and all forms of compassion, disregarding and discarding all the lives of many people just to meet his goal. The first being the goal of vengeance, thinly veiled under the rebellious lies he told to himself, which he called a sense of justice. A justice that took the form of the persona Robin Hood. The second goal being to validate himself through the rebellious hatred that he feels for a world that abandoned him. That maddening hatred became the persona known as Loki. Akechi followed his laws of hate in strides of confidence. He fought against what he believed to be the embodiment of his future regrets. He betrayed the embodiment's trust, stripped him of his success, of his allies, isolated him and subjugated him to the cold brutality of an unjust law force. And after all of that, Akechi's actions and final intents for his life were to kill him and frame it as cowardice suicide, branding him as a monster in history forever. After all of what he tried to do, after all of that hate, pinpointed onto one singular person, that individual who's supposed to embody his regrets, his downfall, chooses to still hold compassion in his heart for Akechi. When Joker spoke to the desire to see Akechi again, regardless of Akechi's macabre existence, his regrets became manifest. And yet, for the first time in his entire life, Akechi held hope. This world, as cruel as it was, as torturous as it may be, and as hate-filled as him, created someone capable of seeing the good in even someone like Akechi. If someone like that could exist, then maybe there could exist a place for Akechi in this world. There could exist an Akechi that could be loved.